declares war on sexism. Kangana's don't disrespect women message.
हर महिला, चाहे वो टीचर हो, चाहे वो एक्ट्रेस हो, चाहे वो जर्नलिस्ट हो, चाहे वो राजनीतिज्ञ हो या वो चाहे सेक्स वर्कर हो, किसी भी तरीके की जो महिला है वो डिग्निटी जो है वो डिजर्व करती हैं.
Actor tears into Congress sexist attack. Branded prostitute hurled filthy abuses. Congress squirms and disowns, but is the damage done?
मुझे जैसे ही पता चला मैंने सर्वप्रथम उस पोस्ट को डिलीट किया, क्योंकि जो कोई भी मुझे जानता है वो अच्छी तरह से जानता है कि मैं कभी भी किसी भी महिला के खिलाफ व्यक्तिगत भद्दी और भोंदी टिप्पणी कर ही नहीं सकती हूँ. मैं इसकी घोर विरोधी हूँ.
Why insult Nari Shakti?
And once again, we find ourselves in the very familiar territory of a war over misogyny and sexism. The question is, who's more sexist, the Congress or the BJP, or are they equal? You might find an answer to that question right here on India Today. I'm Shiv, this is 5 Live. Here are the headlines. Like you just saw, it's a big storm over a Congress Neta's sexist slur against Kangana Ranaut, something she has denied she posted herself. The BJP has moved. The Election Commission seeks action against Supriya Shrinate. Kangana will be meeting the BJP president in a short while from now. Delhi Chief Minister sends Health Department order from jail. BJP cries foul, claims Aam Aadmi Party forged Arvind Kejriwal's letter. Sources tell India Today government files prohibited inside Enforcement Directorate headquarters. Trinamool versus BJP escalates. Dilip Ghosh taunts Mamata, asks who is her real father in an obnoxious comment. Trinamool condemns moves Election Commission claiming BJP's Ghosh violated the model code of conduct with his offensive, obnoxious remarks. State of emergency in Maryland, United States after container ship rams into iconic Presley Scott Bridge in Baltimore. Mass casualty feared, over 20 feared missing, rescue operations currently underway. Another attack against Chinese nationals in Pakistan. 6 Chinese persons killed in a suicide bombing in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. A prominent Congress Instagram handle attacks Kangana Ranaut by comparing her to a sex worker. The BJP's Kailash Vijayvargiya says women who wear bad clothes resemble Shurpanaka. Congress leader Ajay Rai, who is contesting from Varanasi against Modi, uses the phrase latka jhatka while referring to Smriti Irani. Maharashtra BJP President Chandrakant tells Supriya Sule, if you don't understand politics, go home and cook. Congress MLA Irfan Ansari says, I assure you that the roads of Jamtara will be smoother than the cheeks of film actor Kangana Ranaut. BJP's Gopal Shetty says Congress chose Urmila Matondkar exclusively on the basis of her appearance. Congress leader K.R. Ramesh Kumar says, when rape is inevitable, lie down and enjoy it. BJP's Jaikaran Gupta says skirt wali bai in an apparent reference to Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Kerala Congress leader K. Sudhakaran says the Kerala Chief Minister has turned out to be worse than a woman. BJP leader Surendra Narayan Singh says Mayawati got a facial done every day and coloured her hair to look young. Congress leader Yusuf Bhatt says unmarried daughters are a liability to their fathers. BJP leader Vinod Narayan Jha says Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has no other quality except being very beautiful. Congress leader Digvijay Singh refers to Rahul Gandhi's aide Meenakshi Natarajan as 100% Tanchmal. BJP leader Daya Shankar Singh compares Mayawati to a sex worker. Congress leader Satyadev Katare says, जब तक महिला तिरछी नजर से नहीं देखेगी, तब तक पुरुष उसे नहीं छेड़ेगा. BJP Goa Chief Minister Lakshmikant Parsekar advises nurses not to protest under the hot sun as it would darken their complexion and affect their marital prospects. Congress leader Shri Prakash Jaiswal compares cricket victories to wives, says that both grow old and become not as fun as they used to be. Congress leader Sanjay Nirupam famously tells Smriti Irani during a chat, 4 दिन हुए हैं और आप राजनीतिक विश्लेषक बनी फिरती हैं, आप तो टीवी पे ठुमके लगाती थी. Congress leader Digvijay Singh says Arvind Kejriwal is like Rakhi Sawant. They both try to expose but with no substance. President Pranab Mukherjee's son and now Trinamool leader Abhijit Mukherjee labels women protesting against the Delhi gang rape as highly dented painted. BJP's Narendra Modi, then Gujarat Chief Minister, says of Sunanda Pushkar, "Apne kabhi dekha nahi 50 crore ka girlfriend." Rahul Gandhi attacks Modi on Rafale by saying he is hiding behind a woman, Nirmala Sitharaman. Viewer, there's a saying, "Is hamam mein sab nange hain." As I've just demonstrated with a list of examples, misogyny and casual sexism are truly bipartisan in our country, which makes the current finger-pointing between the BJP and the Congress over a post about Kangana and Kangana's old sound bites and everything in between truly the theatre of the absurd. With 24 days to go for the 2024 election, we find ourselves in this very familiar crossfire between India's two big parties over who is more sexist. And whenever there's a tutu meme on sexism and misogyny, the finger pointing over rape is never far behind. Which is why when the Congress makes a noise about BJP members arrested in the IIT BHU campus rape case, the BJP hits back about Telangana Congress leader Kumbam Shivakumar Reddy booked in a rape case in Bengaluru. Which is why when the Congress calls attention to Rajasthan BJP leader Mohan Jat being booked for gang rape, the BJP can hit back with news of Madhya Pradesh Congress leader Umang Singhar charged with raping and assaulting a 38-year-old woman. Which is when the Congress attacks the BJP on the molestation and harassment charges against MP Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, the BJP always hits back by asking how the Congress claims to be a custodian of women's rights while giving a ticket to Lal Singh, the man notoriously who protested in favor of the rapists in Kathua. You get the drift, viewer. The crossfire is virtually eternal. The netas and politicians get away by expending their energies in silly finger pointing, but it's clear that neither side is lily white. Is it a question of who is less guilty of sexism and misogyny? Is there a way of really ever telling that? They're all guilty of misogyny and sexism, as I've demonstrated with the examples I've taken without fear or favor. Even a party like the Trinamool, which claims Nari Shakti as its calling card, has failed shamefully to back the women victims of Sandesh Khali. And that's just the point. The current spotlight may linger over Supriya Shrinate and Kangana Ranaut, but the truth of misogyny is a far more uncomfortable one. The biggest irony of all is that for all this endless fighting, it is only and only women who suffer. Because there's no incentive for the misogyny to end. And while on the subject of misogyny, considering what happened in Sandesh Khali and how the Trinamool reacted with zero sympathy for the women accusers of that place, the Prime Minister has now just spoken to the BJP's brand new candidate from the Bashirat constituency where Sandesh Khali falls, and that woman happens to be one of the rape survivors and accusers of Trinamool leader Sheikh Shahjahan. The Prime Minister has spoken to Sandesh Khali survivor Rekha Patra. The Prime Minister has called Rekha Patra Shakti Swarupa. Sources tell India Today that Rekha has personally, while speaking to Prime Minister Modi, detailed her entire ordeal in Sandesh Khali. Rekha Patra is one of the persons who had charged the strongman of the Trinamool, Sheikh Shahjahan, with harassment of several women in that place. Listen in.
दो चार टीएमसी की जो माँ बहन थे उन्होंने विरोध किया, उन्होंने अभी मान लिया और उन्होंने भी फिर से हमारी पास मैसेज वीडियो कॉल से मैसेज भेजा। उन लोगों ने जो किया वो तो टीएमसी की बुलाने पर किया है, उन्होंने जोर जबरदस्ती करवाई गई है और नहीं होगा जो किया उनके लिए उन्होंने माफी मांग रही है। तो हमारे कोई उनका ऊपर कोई दुश्मनी नहीं है क्योंकि वो हमारे माँ बहन हमारी भाई बाप है। हम तो सबके लिए लड़ेंगे क्योंकि उन्होंने हमारे लिए लड़ रही है, हम उनके लिए लड़ेंगे। जो जमीन जो सम्मान लौटाया जाए इसके लिए पूरा कोशिश करेंगे।
रेखा जी, अभी जो मैं सुन रहा हूं आपको, मुझे लगता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने आपको उम्मीदवार बना करके बहुत बड़ा काम किया है। क्योंकि राजनीति में बहुत कम लोग ऐसे होते हैं जो ये कहेंगे कि जिसने आपका विरोध किया उसका भी भला हो। और मैं सुन रहा हूं अभी तो आप चुनाव के मैदान में उतरी हो और आप कह रही हो कि टीएमसी के जिन लोगों ने मेरे खिलाफ किया है उनका भी अन्याय के खिलाफ मैं लड़ूंगी। ये आप बहुत बड़ी बात बता रही हो और मैं सच बताता हूं, देश जब जानेगा कि रेखा पात्रा इस विचार के रखती हैं और सारा देश आप पर गर्व करेगा। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा आपके विचार सुन करके। रेखा जी, मुझे पता लगा है कि बसीरहाट में जनता, विशेष रूप से महिलाएं, ये आपको बहुत स्नेह दे रही है और अब जब चुनाव के मैदान में उतरी है तो अब क्या वातावरण है?
उनकी घर की बेटी हूँ मैं और उन्होंने मुझे चाहती है, ये सुनकर बहुत खुश हूँ मैं। और इलेक्शन पे उतर के हमें लग रहा है उनका पूरा सपोर्ट मिलेगा मुझे, और उन्होंने जब पूरा सपोर्ट करेंगे तब ना हम उनके लिए और भी कुछ कर पाएंगे। और हम भी गरीब घर की लड़की हूँ, किसी की घर की बेटी बहू हूँ, तो यही बोलूंगा। मेरे पति भी तमिलनाडु, चेन्नई उधर काम करती है। हमारा फैमिली में बहुत बहुत परिश्रम करके उनका हमारा संसार चलती है। तो हम चाहेंगे सबके लिए कुछ ऐसे करेंगे जो बाहर ना जाना पड़े, सबको इधर कंपनी मिले, इधर काम करे और हमारा इधर से बंगाल से बाहर ना जाना पड़े। इसलिए हम पूरा कोशिश करेंगे।
आपका ये जो आत्मविश्वास है ना, आप जरूर दिल्ली पहुंचोगी और आप जरूर चुनाव जीत करके आओगी। रेखा जी, संदेश खाली में आपने इतनी बड़ी लड़ाई लड़ी है। आप एक प्रकार से शक्ति स्वरूपा है। आपने इतने ताकतवर लोगों को जेल भेज दिया। आपको अंदाजा है कि आपने कितने बड़े साहस का काम किया है।
हमारा संदेश खाली की माँ बहन की पूरा सपोर्ट थी, इसलिए हम ये कर पाए सब। और उनकी सपोर्ट से आगे भी रास्ता चलेंगे हम, और उनकी साथ लेकर चलेंगे ये रास्ते। हम राम जी की तरह एक भाई एक बाप हमारी मिला है, तो हम आपका छोटे बेटी की तरह हमारा साथ रहेगा।
रेखा जी, हम सब मिलकर के माताओं बहनों के सम्मान के लिए, और सिर्फ बसीरहाट नहीं, पूरे बंगाल के लिए, वहां के सम्मान के लिए, वहां के गौरव के लिए हमारी ये लड़ाई है। और आप तो एक मेहनत कश परिवार से हैं, बहुत मजदूरी करके गुजारा करती हैं और इतना बड़ा सार्वजनिक जीवन का जिम्मा मिला है। बहुत बड़ा अंतर आया होगा, लेकिन मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि मैं पूरी तरह आप लोगों के साथ रहूंगा। व्यक्तिगत रूप से भी मैं आप सबकी चिंता करूंगा। रेखा जी, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे बात करके और आपका जो उत्साह देख रहा हूं वो मुझे बहुत प्रसन्नता हो रही है कि बंगाल तो शक्ति पूजा की भूमि है, दुर्गा पूजा की भूमि है और आप उसी शक्ति का पर्याय है। आप जिस मेहनत से, जिस हिम्मत से काम कर रही है वो बड़ी बात है। संदेश खाली की महिलाओं की आवाज को देश के सामने उठाना ये कोई सामान्य बात नहीं है। और आपने जो साहस दिखाया है वो देखकर लग रहा है कि इस बार बंगाल की नारी शक्ति विशेष रूप से हमें आशीर्वाद देगी, बंगाल के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए आशीर्वाद देगी। मैं जरूर कहूंगा कि जितना हो सके पश्चिम बंगाल के लोगों के बीच केंद्र की बीजेपी सरकार के कामकाज की बात जरूर पहुंचाइए। और अभी वहां जिस टीएमसी पार्टी की सरकार है उससे तो लोग बहुत परेशान हैं। बीजेपी सरकार की कितनी ही योजना हो, वहां टीएमसी सरकार लागू ही नहीं होने देती। आप लोगों के बीच जाकर ये भी बताइए कि कैसे वहां की टीएमसी सरकार की योजनाओं में करप्शन कर रही है।
Well, the war over Congress leader Supriya Shrinate's Instagram post, which she has denied and deleted, has escalated now because the BJP has moved the Election Commission against Supriya Shrinate. Kangana Ranaut, who was the target of this obnoxious post, which has since been deleted and clarified, will be meeting BJP President JP Nadda tonight. She's already arrived, as you can see in these pictures, in Delhi. So this entire spat is intensifying. Take a look at what Vinod Tawde, BJP leader, said right after that meeting with the Election Commission.
आज चुनाव आयोग को भारतीय जनता पार्टी का प्रतिनिधिमंडल मिला और चुनाव आयोग से जिन बातों का जिक्र किया उसमें पहली बात ये थी कि हर प्रदेश के चुनाव अधिकारी एक ही किस्म के वक्तव्य पे या कृति पर अलग अलग अपनी भूमिका लेते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। चुनाव आयोग का हमने कहा कि इसको आप सही समय पर इन वक्तव्यों के प्रति एक कड़ी भूमिका लेना जरूरी है और चुनाव आयोग ने कहा कि हम इसमें ध्यान देंगे। धन्यवाद।
And joining us live now on India Today is a BJP leader and a BJP MLA who was among the first to speak out very strongly once this story broke. Once it was revealed that this post on Supriya Shrinate's Instagram handle, had emerged and there were reactions from all sides. Aditi Singh is the sitting BJP MLA from Raebareli Sadar. Aditi, good to have you. Thank you for your time here on India Today. I just wanted to read out your tweet yesterday, Aditi, about this particular controversy and this fight. You said, despicable comments coming from Congress netas on Kangana Ranaut's candidature, so disgraceful and makes me so angry as a woman to be reading these posts and comments. Explain that to us, Aditi. You said you feel angry and, a sense of how disgraceful this is.
No, absolutely. Just one day before Supriya Shrinate's post, was when Kangana ji's ticket was announced, her candidature was announced. It's her first stint into active politics. She's been wildly successful. She's had a very successful career. She's a self-made woman, and just this sort of I honestly did not see someone like Supriya, especially, who's so well educated. And theek hai, party line apni jagah hai, party apni jagah hai. But to see something so uncouth coming from Supriya was especially surprising of all netas, because she is someone, despite party lines, I hold her in high regard as someone who's well-read and well-spoken, and for most part. But this was absolutely below the belt. And I'm not one to take to Twitter, every day or, every other day. But this was just so instinctive for me in terms of just absolutely how horrible the words that were used for this woman, for Kangana ji, were. It was absolutely uncalled for.
Aditi, Supriya Shrinate has clarified, I'm sure you know, she says, that she didn't post this. It was someone who had access to her account. Many in the BJP says this is nonsense because everything that gets posted on the social media head's account has to be vetted by her. Where do you stand on that? Do you believe Supriya Shrinate when she says, I didn't do it? And her supporters also say, like you said, someone like her in the spotlight, may not have actually said something like this herself. What do you think?
Even if I was to give her the benefit of the doubt that she absolutely didn't know, which I don't, but I'm just saying, even if I was to say that and give her the benefit of the doubt, the thing is, your social media is your responsibility. Maybe you can enlighten me. As far as I know, I don't think any FIRs have been filed, under the Indian Penal Code or tamam jo alag-alag type ke IT ki dharaएं hain. As far as I know, I don't think she's filed any FIRs yet. So if you're absolutely serious about it, firstly, why aren't you taking more, better cognizance of this whole issue? And, end of the day, when it comes to social media handles, any apology coming after such an uncouth statement is too little too late, right? Because it is your responsibility. If anything is posted from my account, end of the day, it is my responsibility what content I'm putting out there. It was one thing I did understand till she said that it came out on some parody account and it's an account she doesn't run. Understandable. But for it to have come from her own handle, I find it a little hard to believe that she was not clued in upon the kind of content that her team or she was putting out.
Okay.
The other thing is, even if she was absolutely clueless about this, let's say, what kind of guidelines are you giving your team? what kind of briefs are you giving your team to put out such ridiculous content? That is something that needs to be looked into even more. Is let's say if I maybe I'm not very sure about what my team is doing online, ho jata hai, but they have very, very strict guidelines. If I talk about my own team, or if I talk about my own social media accounts, my team has very strong, very strict guidelines, very strict briefings about the kind of content that can be put out from my handle. Look, you're a public figure. You need to have that sense of responsibility as to what you project, what you post out there, what you're putting into the world. This is not some little slackies account, or like some sort of troll, one of your many millions, or from your troll army. No, she's one of the top leadership of Congress in today's day and age, one of the top spokespeople.
Yes.
Has been a pratyashi herself, has contested an election herself. So I think this is very, very callous and very irresponsible. Even if one was to give her the benefit of the doubt of believing that she did not know what was being put out there.
Okay, so Aditi says that she doesn't believe that, and either way doesn't send out the right message if such content of this kind has made it to her account, no matter who posted it from her team. But moving beyond that, I just wanted to reaffirm once again to all of our viewers that Supriya Shrinate has officially denied that she personally posted it, and she says she's investigating how this may have happened. But Aditi, back to you. You've been in the Congress and the BJP, so you have a unique perspective on politics on both sides. You've also spoken about it recently in a podcast that has gone viral. But my question is a little different, because once again, quoting from your tweet, the same tweet I was reading out, the last few words are quite telling. About your own experience, and I want you to speak to us about that. You say about this whole Supriya Shrinate, incident. You say, "Jaisa Raja, Vaisi Praja." What did you mean by that?
As you know, I spoke about it very recently on our podcast with Smita Prakash.
Yeah,
and I faced a very similar fate at the hands of the Congress Party and their leadership. In terms of Priyanka Gandhi, during the state assembly elections in 2022, she very clearly told my ex-husband, husband at the time, to sort of talk about me in a negative light, especially to do with my character, and very similar to kind of the kind of character assassination that Kangana is going through. So she wanted him to sort of speak on very similar lines that you see Supriya speaking in, or the kind of content that's come out from Supriya's account is really the kind of content she wanted to see coming out of Angad's, who was a sitting MLA from Nawashehar from Punjab. She wanted to see very similar content coming out of his account directed towards me, and he was promised a ticket if he managed to sort of come out with all these statements, derogatory statements about me, but he refused to do so. I think which is why it was such a trigger for me yesterday as well with this particular tweet, is because it just took me back to my own time. Otherwise, I am still a bit of a reluctant tweeter. I'm still a little bit reluctant when it comes to social media, for whatever reasons. But this was something that absolutely just hit a nerve with me, is because of, again, as you know, as I spoke about on that podcast, is very similar. Like, it's kind of mirroring the same behavior that was expected out of my ex-husband.
I understand.
That we saw from Supriya yesterday. It's so shameful.
Aditi, last couple of questions, and once again, at the beginning of this show, I began by listing the instances of misogyny that have been seen on both sides, by BJP leaders, by Congress leaders. You've been on both sides, and I know this is, I'm not expecting an answer from you in the sense of trying to compare the two sides, but what we're seeing right now, every time, an incident of misogyny or sexism happens, is this kind of endless tu mein. Acha, Supriya Shrinate said this or allegedly said this, but Kangana also said this. Then you said this, then I said this. Then Kailash Vijayvargiya said this, but then somebody else said this from the Congress party. Digvijay Singh said this, then somebody else said this. Modi said this, Rahul Gandhi said this. It becomes a kind of self-fulfilling cycle of misogyny, and nothing ever really happens. Is there which party is more sexist? Seems like a very, very difficult question to ask, but I'll still ask you that question, since you've been on both sides.
Look, I don't think we should even bring party line into this when it comes to,
I agree.
Just such ridiculous comments made towards women. I don't even necessarily think, Shiv, that you should or anyone should make it like, in this case, of course, it's very clearly a matter of party lines. It's clearly this leader is calling out another leader and bahut hi zyada derogatory, right? But honestly, like, even if it was someone in my own party, some woman in my own party, coming out with these kind of comments for someone perhaps even in the opposition or in the same party or not, or whatever, regardless of the politics of it, this is just something I'm going to condemn anyway. And I just wish more people and more women across party lines would have more of female sort of at least standing up for each other, and that kind of synergy as women we need to have, as a society we need to have, as a civil society we need to have, as an educated society we need to have. And it's just acham mein hai agar koi mahilaon ke liye, bhale hi wo mahila ho bhale hi purush ho, if anyone is using this kind of language, it's absolutely unforgivable. And I really try to, on these things especially, I really do try to rise above party lines and political lines and call a spade a spade. And I
agree with you. And I have seen your comments in the past, and you do very strongly take a line that is on the issue and not about which party you belong to. So I definitely give you credit for that, Aditi. Last question is, given that there are so many such incidents which gives both sides the ability to constantly point these fingers at each other, isn't it also worrying? And for someone like you who is a woman politician, which used to be for the longest time a man's world, in many ways it still probably is, that better. Is it disturbing to you that nothing ever changes? It is still the women who suffer because nobody really pays a price for misogyny in political conversation.
I completely agree, Shiv, and I've been thinking about it since yesterday. What are things that we can do and what are actions we can take? And I wish that across party lines, leaders would take more cognizance of these kind of statements made and take stronger action in terms of how they deal with these kind of leaders coming out with these statements. I wish they would do that. Be it against Supriya Shrinate or be it against anyone across party lines, like I said, speaking ill against women. I think it needs to be dealt with right away. It needs to be nipped in the bud. And अगर आप सख्ती के कदम उठाएंगे, अगर आप सख्ती से डील करेंगे, पार्टी लेवल पे ही सख्ती करेंगे कि देखिए अगर आप ऐसी कमेंट करेंगे हम आपको 5 साल के लिए सस्पेंड कर देंगे. Or something like that. Whatever they think, जो भी उनको लगता है कि whatever punishment fits the crime, right, for their own party and within their own systems. I'm not going to comment on that. But within their own leadership positions, I think the party leadership of their own parties need to kind of start punishing these offensive acts, and only then are people going to become, or at least the party cadres are going to become a little bit more disciplined when it comes to what they're putting out in terms of content against women. And certainly the Congress party needs a lesson in that, given everything that we've all been through.
Aditi Singh, you've been very candid with my questions, and I thank you for giving me your time. It's a sensitive issue. It's a sensitive time, at a time when, buzzwords like Mahila Shakti and Nari Shakti are thrown about. People talk about mohabbat ki dukaan and things like that, and yet you see attacks of this kind. So it's very jarring to the public as well to see this kind of conversation happening among, some of the country's biggest parties. But very grateful to you for giving us your time and taking all of these questions, and we look forward to having you here on the show again. Aditi Singh, thank you so much for being on India Today. Thank you.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
And now to show you what happened with Kangana Ranaut. You've been watching it since yesterday when India Today broke it. We were the only channel to have both Supriya Shrinate and the BJP on at the same time. Take a look at this detailed report on the big BJP versus Congress war over that post on Supriya Shrinate's Instagram handle.
Actor Kangana Ranaut declaring war on brazen sexism and after facing prostitute jibe and filthy abuses from Congress leaders.
नड्डा जी ने दिल्ली बुलाया है, उनसे मीटिंग होने के बाद ही मैं कोई प्रतिक्रिया आगे दे पाऊंगी। किसी भी तरीके की जो महिला है वो डिग्निटी जो है वो डिजर्व करती है।
It all started with Congress social media chief Supriya Shrinate hurling this uncouth attack on BJP's Mandi candidate. What followed was massive outrage and disbelief at the misogynist attack from a woman leader who is often seen on TV extolling Congress respect for Nari Shakti. Several Congress leaders, including Congress's Gujarat Neta H.S. Ahir, too posted highly objectionable remarks on Kangana, calling her a prostitute from Mandi. Hours later, Shrinate clarified her highly objectionable post on Kangana Ranaut, claiming it was a job of an outsider who had access to her handle.
मेरे फेसबुक और इंस्टाग्राम अकाउंट का एक्सेस कई लोगों के पास है। उसमें से किसी एक व्यक्ति ने आज एक बेहद घृणित और आपत्तिजनक पोस्ट की। मुझे जैसे ही पता चला मैंने सर्वप्रथम उस पोस्ट को डिलीट किया, क्योंकि जो कोई भी मुझे जानता है वो अच्छी तरह से जानता है कि मैं कभी भी किसी भी महिला के खिलाफ व्यक्तिगत भद्दी और भोंदी टिप्पणी कर ही नहीं सकती हूं। मैं इसकी घोर विरोधी हूं।
Kangana slammed the Congress for denigrating women, adding that women in every profession deserve respect. She also slammed bid to sexualize holy town of Mandi, otherwise known as Chota Kashi.
और खासकर सबसे ज्यादा जो मुझे दुख हुआ है वो जो मंडी जिसे छोटा काशी कहा जाता है, पूरे विश्व में छोटे काशी के नाम से प्रसिद्ध है, जहाँ पे ऋषि पराशर से लेकर ऋषि मार्कंडेय जी ने तपस्या की है, उसके बारे में इतनी भद्दी टिप्पणी, तो हम सब मंडी वासी जो हैं वो बहुत ही कष्ट हमें हुआ है इस चीज को लेकर।
The BJP came out in strong support of Kangana and moved poll panel against slander of the Queen actor turned Neta.
जो सोशल मीडिया की चेयरपर्सन है वो कह रही है उनके अकाउंट कई लोग डील करते हैं। वे बहुत साफ है कि कांग्रेस की जो बातें हैं, इनके अकाउंट्स कहां से डील होते हैं, ये देश को समझना चाहिए।
अगर वो स्वयं अपने सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स की जिम्मेदार नहीं है, अगर वो उन्हीं को प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर सकती, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी के सोशल मीडिया के लिए कौन जिम्मेदार है?
कांग्रेस की महिलाओं के प्रति और भारत के कलाकारों के प्रति, बेटियों के प्रति ये ऐसी घिनौनी सोच है।
Congress, however, slammed Kangana, recalling that she had described another actor turned Neta, Urmila Matondkar, a soft porn actor, amid a verbal spat.
Supriya has clearly said that it was not her who was done. Sometimes, accounts get hacked or whatever. So on top of that, she's come out with an explanation and said it is not her. Everything has been done. But I want to ask Kangana Ranaut, I think maybe 3 years back, she called another actress a porn star, soft porn star on live television. Has she apologized to Urmila Matondkar? Please ask her that. That's very important, because no woman, according to me, should insult any other woman.
The National Women's Commission has written to poll watchdog EC seeking action against those abusing Kangana.
जैसे ही मैंने ट्विटर पे ये पढ़ा, हमने इस पे सुओ मोटो लिया है और इलेक्शन कमीशन को लिखा है कि इनके अगेंस्ट steps लिए जाएं.
Will the abusive Congress rant against Kangana, an immensely popular female actor, irreparably hurt Congress in coming polls by alienating women voters? Bureau Report, India Today.
A state of emergency has been declared in the eastern American state of Maryland, very close to the U.S. capital of Washington, D.C., when a major bridge in Baltimore snapped and collapsed into the sea after a massive container ship rammed into it early on Tuesday. The entire incident has been captured very dramatically on camera, the moment when that huge mammoth ship went smashing into that bridge, bringing it into pieces into the sea. It happened early Tuesday. Several vehicles fell into the sea below. Vehicles plunged into the Patapsco River. It was a river, I beg your pardon, very close to the sea. Baltimore's on the coast. After this ship collided into one of the bridge's supporting pylons. Those are the huge pillars you see. According to reports, over 20 people are suspected to be missing in the river, along with numerous vehicles that plunged into the river once the bridge collapsed. Vehicles plunged into the river after a Singapore-flagged container ship, the Dali, collided into one of the bridge's massive support pylons. The headlights of vehicles could be seen on the bridge as huge spans collapsed into the Patapsco River and the ship caught fire. The Baltimore City Fire Department said that the collapse was a mass casualty incident and said workers were searching for missing people. This video, as you can imagine, has gone viral on the internet. This is a huge and key bridge, one of 3 key bridges connecting different parts of Baltimore, a coastal port city, very commercially important in the United States.
We've not been able to confirm that we actually have an active fuel spill from the vessel. We've had odors of diesel fuel. The Maryland Department of the Environment is here, as well as the Coast Guard, so they would take leads on that as well. We hope as the sun comes up a little bit with the air assets that are up to get a much better picture, if we do have a fuel spill, what the impact has been so far.
And like I said, this incident has been declared as a mass casualty incident after this container ship has collided with the Presley Scott Key Bridge, causing it to completely collapse. Many vehicles have plunged into the Patapsco River in Baltimore, and a state of emergency has now been declared in the state of Maryland. The governor of the state, Wes Moore, has declared a state of emergency due to this bridge collapse, as 20+ victims are said to be missing. A search has been started for those who may be missing and in the sea, in the river. There are reports of multiple cars and persons may be in the water following the collapse who are still declared missing at this point of time. Nobody has been declared dead yet. We're awaiting further information. This incident is under investigation.
Police has been here. Foxtrot is also working this. There are 2 air resources right now. I don't know that we won't bring any more in, but right now they're the 2 primary. Air reconnaissance on something on the open water is it's an invaluable resource. And we've been very fortunate to have it, because as we put people out in the dark on the water to conduct searches, they have that degree of overwatch from those assets. So it's been an invaluable resource for us. Mr. Mayor, we're bringing in the equipment specific to the operation right now, and then even law enforcement agencies have a lot of the same marine ops equipment as we do. So given the incident is so big, we try to force multiply and just bring as many resources in as we can, so that we can really blanket a large area for a search.
All right, let's take a look at what we know so far. Remember, viewer, this is still a developing story. This happened early on Tuesday in the United States, in Baltimore. Let's tell you what we know so far, and these are all from official sources on ground in Baltimore. The ship called the Dali, which is a Singapore-flagged merchant ship, struck the bridge around 1:28 a.m. local time in Baltimore, which is on the east coast of the United States. Multiple vehicles were seen in that video falling into the water. At least 20 people, like I said, are believed to be on that ship. The ship was flagged from Singapore. It was leaving Baltimore and heading to Sri Lanka when this collision took place with the Key Bridge, which was one of 3 big bridges in the port city of Baltimore. Let's go across to India today. It's Gaurav Sawant, who's been tracking this very troubling story coming in from the United States. Gaurav, the fact that this entire collision was caught on camera makes it, doubly troubling. What do we know about, what may have happened in the initial minutes after this happened? Even foul play wasn't ruled out, but now it appears that this was some kind of an accident, a runaway ship, power loss on board that ship. What are you hearing, Gaurav?
So, Shiv, there's a team of the Federal Bureau of Investigation that has joined the probe, but the priority, according to officials on ground, remains search and rescue. The temperature freezing, -1. Water even colder. So you have Coast Guard with their sonars. They're dunking those sonars. They're desperately trying to find signs of life underwater. Remember, it's been 6 hours. 1:30 local time is when the collision took place and the bridge came crashing down. Multiple vehicles went in, including a tractor-trailer sized vehicle. Some people are still feared trapped in what is being now described as the debris field. So you have the swift response teams and the Coast Guard that are inside the debris field trying to look for survivors. 2 survivors have been located and rescued so far. As far as the investigation is concerned, Shiv, prima facie, it does appear that the ship had loss of power, but moments before collision, the power came on. The ship, incidentally, was not under command of the captain of the ship, but under command of the harbour pilot. And as you know better, every harbour has very experienced harbour pilots who take these giant containers out safely out to sea, and then the captain takes control of the ship. So harbour pilots are someone who are people who know the lay of the water, every inch, every nook, every cranny, and know the displacement of the ship and from where exactly should the ship be guided. So initial information seems to indicate that the ship was under control of the harbour pilot when it had loss of power. Power came on, but it just went crashing into that support pillar of the bridge, and a major part of the bridge came crashing down onto the ship. There was some construction work that was going on, road construction work on the bridge. So some construction workers are also feared missing, Shiv.
Gaurav, the governor of Maryland has declared a state of emergency, which might sound alarming to many, but this is in many ways standard operating procedure, isn't it? When a big disaster of this kind happens, and considering that this is an arterial bridge carrying a lot of traffic, obviously no chances are being taken, and that's why emergency has been declared.
So Shiv, protocol has kicked in, and that is where the federal agencies are also now in support of the state forces. So federal agencies come over, then there is a nodal command and control center that's set up, and then relief and rescue operations start, so that one agency is not working at cross purposes with the other agency. You have the Coast Guard, you also have the local police, you also have neighboring regions. They've sent in their police forces, their rescue teams, their swift response teams, rescue operations on, because this is a race against time with people in sub-zero temperature for over 6 hours. The effort is to locate as many people as possible alive. Easier said than done, given the kind of debris that's all along. The depth is about 50 feet in this part where the collision has taken place. So the effort is to be able to rescue those people who may be trapped inside cars or maybe clinging on to life in some place or the other. Now it's daylight. It's about 7:30 local time. So now it's easier to be able to locate people. So you have multiple helicopters in the sky, and you have ground teams, and you have teams in their fast boats in the debris field trying to rescue people in this developing story where casualties. So when this incident took place, it was around 1:30 at night. So not many people on the bridge that time, but some people missing, those who were working on the bridge, those cars that were there on the bridge, and of course some of the ship's crew. The crew are still on board, as is the harbour pilot, is the information that we have.
Okay, we're going to try and get an update from the ground as well. Gaurav, stay with me for just a moment longer, because we also have a time-lapse video of this incident. Remember, merchant vessels don't move very fast, but these are huge, very, very heavy vessels, and that explains the kind of damage that's been done to the bridge with just a light touch of that ship. It shows something very interesting. Take a close look at this video. The ship seems to abruptly change course, at least from this angle, before it slams into the bridge. Now, there was no other maritime traffic or marking issues of any kind. And as Gaurav said, the ship was, under navigation by the harbour pilot, not the captain of the ship. So was this human error on the ground by the harbour authorities in Baltimore, or was it an equipment failure? Was it intentional? Nothing being ruled out at this point of time. But the ship was outbound, sailing from Baltimore to Sri Lanka. So, Gaurav, we can confirm that as of now, no angles have been ruled out by the federal authorities.
None whatsoever. The authorities haven't ruled out whether this was an error, a mechanical error, a human error, or a collision on purpose. That also hasn't been ruled out, because a lot of details will be gone into the ship's logs, the details, what happened. If you notice that time lag video once again, Shiv, and very closely, the lights, they suddenly go off, and that's where it was reported that the ship had lost power and was in a way rudderless. But moments before, this massive collision, the lights come on once again and the ship changes course. Now, why did the ship change course? The tide is only coming in now. The currents are only, that's one of the reports that doing the rounds on currents, tides, and what will it do to vehicles that are now in water or those who may be trapped underneath. So all of that is a matter of investigation. But if you notice that video, suddenly the ship appears to change course, head straight for that column, and then goes and rams into it. And this is a huge ship, 948-foot ship. So all of those details are being ascertained as of now. Under command of the harbour pilot is an indication that there were experts who were captaining the ship at the bridge at that point of time, because the captain takes over the ship only once it's on the high seas, and once again when it enters another harbour in whichever place it is, the harbour pilot once again comes in and guides the ship safely to berth it. So all of that as of now a matter of investigation, Shiv.
Okay, Gaurav, thanks very much for joining us on that story. I just want to play that video once again, full frame for our viewers. All the camera angles that we have so far. There's this head-on camera view that we have of the ship colliding with the bridge. If you can look on the bridge itself, you can see vehicles whizzing past. So even though this was late in the night, early in the morning rather, about 1:30 a.m., there was still some traffic, and that's the reason why vehicles did plunge into the water as per the federal authorities. This is, of course, a speeded up video to show you the kind of damage that was done to that entire stretch of bridge. 20 persons are said to be missing at this point of time, with an unspecified number of vehicles. Drone and helicopter imagery provides also a bird's eye view of what the site of this collision looks like right now. If we can play that clip of the overhead image, that's what it looks like right now. It's early morning now in Baltimore. We'll keep you posted on this big story. State of emergency has been declared in the state of Maryland. It's a state that has a large Indian population, incidentally. All right, that's a wrap on 5 Live. Thanks for watching. We'll have updates on all the big stories right here on India Today.